Today on the PTL, we check out the playoff scene in the LCS, hand out some fantastic awards, and your holy shit! Primetime League starts right now! Holy fancy feet! Sneaky stays alive!
In a composition that should be coming away with the win at this point in the game, get beaten by a Teemo.
Hello everyone and welcome to Primetime League. I am Rivington Bisland III.
And I will introduce myself for the first time, old boy. I am Jushu Jat Lismane. Gosh darn it, Riv, how do you do it right every single time?
One more go.
One more go. Joshua Jat Leesman, and we are here to talk about what's happening around the world in League of Legends esports.
Good on you, Governor. Spot on.
Thank you, Riv.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. First, we'll check out the action that took place right here. Good old North America. That's where first place team SoloMid took on first place team SoloMid in a physical battle.
I mean, people have been talking about TSM's improvement, but could they actually beat an international team on a big stage? Well, first you got to stop the melons.
This is where the diversity counted. Stopping the melons really took a different team composition here, and you can see
I wonder if this
with
will
the
affect. I wonder if that
Santorin
affects
with the
their
left,
mid
right.
lane synergy. And here, I feel like Wild Turtle isn't playing the game properly.
Ooh.
It's a jumping, running game, and he's on the floor.
Shins look like they hurt. They got the whistle. Time is up.
Yeah, they're not very good at that game.
No.
Hate to say it.
Well, while TSM could shape up off the Rift, first place squad faced a much tougher challenge on the Rift when they took on third place Cloud9, looking for a top 2 finish.
Yeah, and this was a game where TSM had already locked in the #1 seed, but they wanted to defeat their longtime rivals Cloud9, who historically have dominated this matchup. Well, to start, Cloud9 was historic.
Historic indeed, with a consistency that much teams like to follow, and that's going for Dyrus.
Yeah, a bad split for Cloud9, and they still had a chance of clinching second coming into the final week of the LCS split, but Santorin had something to say about that.
Just that 2K deficit, Santorin still feels like the 5-man dive-in to get the solo Baron steal is what the team needs, and it was.
High
it was
risk
for the
play,
time
high
being.
reward. And here we go, Bjergsen makes a mistake. He burns his Rupture onto a support and then just gets jumped on by all the damage dealers of Cloud9.
So much focus. Dyrus here coming to the rescue. A great teleport, but easily focused after no one else was there to help him.
Yeah, Meteos had Dyrus' number this game. Assault and battery exactly when he needed. Dyrus could not become a factor in this game whatsoever. It amounted to a one-threat team for TSM. Bjergsen on a tank. Dyrus 1-5. Wild Turtle couldn't do it himself.
Cloud9 back to their ways of just going all in. Meteos loving those damaged junglers, and they would try to do some more damage as they faced off against Counterlogic Gaming in that bye breaker for second place and that bye.
Absolutely, the Cloud9 victory as well as a CLG loss against Impulse. We weren't expecting to see this tiebreaker, but boy, were we happy to see it, and surprised to see it Draven.
A Draven indeed, and with the Adoration stacks building up, the cash in here, 710 plus gold, but he wasn't done. The team, they were already up, so they were ready to set up some more kills.
Sneaky got 1,000 gold if you add the kill gold onto that 1x. That makes a very fed Draven, which means Vayne can't get close to him, and Meteos also helped to zone double if. The rest of Cloud9 was also doing fairly well, substantial lockdown, but mainly no one to deal with Sneaky, and Sneaky dealing enough damage.
Meteos back to Zac zoning the fight, and as soon as the exhaust wears off a Sneaky, he goes to work.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't even in his final form at this point. He kept building items on top of it, but he gets more Adoration cash in right there, about 360 more gold on top of his nice farm, and COG goes all out to try and kill Sneaky, but they can't quite get him.
High on Jarvan this game, able to get to the back line, another composition where Cloud9 can keep fighting and keep going in.
Yeah, and because they had the Baron buff and they won a fight on the doorstep of COG's base, that's a fast victory. What just happened? Cloud9 was the #2 seed in the North American LCS.
Very strong victory indeed. And after Sunday's 5 normal games plus 2 tiebreaker matches, here are the standings in the North American LCS. TSM held on to the top spot after that final tiebreaker match. Cloud9 moved up to second place, while CLG dropped into third with Impulse, Gravity, and Liquid rounding out the other teams heading into the postseason. And here's a look at the NA playoff bracket. Note these matches will begin this Saturday and take place after the European LCS. Saturday's quarterfinal matchup will kick off with Counterlogic Gaming hoping to stop their recent slide as they take on Team Liquid. Then on Sunday, the force of impulse will meet the power of gravity on the Rift. Keep in mind that all of the playoff matches will be a best of 5. And with the NA and EU matches happening on the same day, you can have a complete LCS party every weekend for the next 3 weeks. Oh, yeah.
And joining us for a closer look at these matchups is Professor Kobe. How is it going, sir?
It's going great. Thank you, Chad.
Yeah. But in all honesty, we have to start with CLG and Liquid, because this is a matchup we saw, honestly, last year when CLG played Curse in the playoffs, but they were very different teams back then.
Yeah, it was such a different story. I mean, Curse were red hot back then. Now Team Liquid, they're kind of stumbling. They've had problems of their own. And CLG have had a much better season this time around.
Yeah, but then we look at the late season struggles of CLG. They lost the tiebreak. They lost the match to Team Impulse. They lost the tiebreaker match. They weren't even expecting to play this weekend. I kind of wonder how that's going to factor into their psyche, since they do have a history of not doing well in the playoffs.
Yeah, Doublelift did say during a recent interview that his biggest fear was not performing in playoffs, because he does have this stigma surrounding him and the rest of CLG that they kind of choke when the pressure mounts.
Yeah, and Piglet also said he really wants to play against Doublelift. The interesting thing in this matchup for me is the fact that Piglet actually hasn't played against CLG. The 2 games the Team Liquid played against them had the other AD carry, Keith, who, honestly, if you look at the total numbers, had a much better season than Piglet, but it's definitely Piglet we're going to be seeing against Doublelift for the first time.
Yeah, and when they use Piglet, they tend more towards the shorter range hyper carries like Vayne and Callista. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup between those guys, plus the fact that the rest of Team Liquid have kind of been on a decline, and Piglet has been really the one performing, and a lot of their strategy does revolve around him now, which is the old style of CLG, whereas they've now diversified a lot of their threats up to the top lanes on Spartan and things like that.
Yeah, Piglet had success with Vayne. Doublelift played Vayne, even though he said it wasn't a good champion, and ended up losing the game. That is fascinating, not because the teams are looking amazing coming in, but just because there's so much story there.
Yeah, there's a lot of beef here, and there's a lot of history.
Yeah, there's also the other matchup that we need to take a look at on the other side of the playoff bracket, Team Impulse versus Gravity. Now, this is a one where we really just have to talk about Rush.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of all the junglers always look up to Rush, right? This guy, he's so unpredictable. And even though he only plays a couple champions, he picks up new champions really quickly, it seems like. He hadn't even played many games on Nidalee, and he already started drawing bans in Nidalee 1 week in.
Yeah, it definitely feels to me like Rush is the carry of that team. We thought maybe it'll be Xiaoyi Xiao, the one remaining member from LMQ, but it's been Rush the whole year. And he's going up against St. Vicious, who has actually had a pretty good split. He plays a ton of champions. I think this is a great patch for St. Vicious to play, because he picks up champions just as fast as Rush in a sense. He doesn't show total mastery over them, but he's willing to do anything because he's played all the stuff.
And the big difference is Saint is definitely embracing the Cinderhulk junglers, whereas Rush doesn't really like that type of play.
Yeah.
He's much more a carnivorous jungler. He likes to play the Lee Sins and the Jarvans. He likes to go duel people. But he's admitted that he has to learn Sejuani for this patch.
I know.
Just because she's so good.
That's going to play so interestingly into this matchup, because I've looked up Rush's solo queue. He has 1 in 9 on Sejuani, his kill death on that. Not very good, because if we look at this matchup, Impulse crushed them in the regular season on fighter junglers.
Yeah.
But St. Vicious, I think, is a much better tank jungler player. So there's going to be this weird juxtaposition of Team Impulse. Maybe they try and play an old patch game, whereas Gravity, I have no idea what they're going to pick, because they're so inconsistent.
They have Keen on their team. They have really deep champion pools. Honestly, both of these teams have a lot of wild cards. If we're talking about the mid lane, especially Xiaoyi Xiao, everyone's still not sure if he's hiding, is he sleeping in these games where he's playing Yasuo and underperforming on LeBlanc? Or, is it all part of the plan? Is he just waiting till the time actually matters and he's going to be that MVP performance again?
I think the Yasuo picks were real, and I think the Corki pick with Lud Zeka was real too. He also has Karthus, right? It's the Karthus band, and I think the other ones are real. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us on PTL, Kobe, and we will see you for the games this weekend.
Yes, we will.
And if you happen to be in the Atlanta metro area this weekend, join fellow LCS fans for a viewing party at the Battle and Brew in Sandy Springs, where we hear they like to watch Primetime League on Wednesdays. To find out more or to plan an LCS viewing party of your own, head over to lolesports.com/VP for all the details.
So, Chicago gets the Geek Bar, Atlanta has the Battle and Brew. We need some awesomeness like that here in Los Angeles, I think. And while we may not have venues with cool-sounding names, we do have the North American League Championship Series, and over the next couple of weeks, we'll be presenting the LCS Awards for NA and EU Coach and Rookie of the Split. We'll be presenting those awards right here on Primetime League, and the first one of those trophies is the North American LCS Coach of the Split. That award goes to Team SoloMid's Loco Doco. Loco Doco is a familiar face to League fans, having competed both in Korea and here in the North American LCS, but his biggest impact has proven to be off the rift as a coach. And his helping hand led TSM to a first-place finish this split and to an appearance at Worlds last year. He is definitely a man who is not afraid to speak his mind, and we are happy to have him here with us. Loco Doco, congratulations. I would like to present you with the Coach of the Split Award as well. How's it feel?
It feels heavy.
So I do have a few questions before I let you run off and celebrate. Coaching Team SoloMid, obviously you guys came up with first place in the split. What was kind of the hardest thing about coaching for the team this year?
To be honest, it wasn't that hard. We have really good players. Everyone's really workable. I have great analysts. They make my job a lot easier. But I would say the hardest thing would be bouncing back from what happened in San Jose and making sure we're on track. And start of the split, it could have been a bit shaky, but everyone stepped up and we sailed through it.
Got through it indeed. And final question for aspiring coaches out there who just want to get into the scene and want to better themselves, what is the best way to better yourself as a coach?
I feel like a lot of the coaches have a mindset where they're like, what I'm doing or what they're doing individually is right, and they're just like, that's it. And I think if people were more humble and listen to what other people had to say and see what other people were doing, they would improve faster.
All right, wise words from the first place coach. You heard it here. Congratulations once again, Loco. Thank you for joining us so much. There's another award to be handed out as well, but I'm not sure the guy who has it still will want to let it go right now. So let's see who ended up as King of the Hill in Primetime's League's Fantasy League of Legends Legendary League.
Well, thanks very much, Riv. But the thing is, it all comes down to how you define the word winner. To begin with, I won my final matchup against Snoopy, crushed him by nearly 100 points. I also defeated xPeke in a head-to-head matchup when we battled in an earlier week. But for people that only go by win-loss record, Peke, he won his matchup over Shox, which sadly gives him the best record in the PTL FL4. However, I finished with the most total fantasy points of anyone in the league. I had the second least points scored against me as well. This means that technically, I'm only second place, even though I was clearly the best. Now, I was also even the People's Champion. You whatever people picked me as the ultimate winner on Twitter with 49% of the vote, and in my book, that means I win. And as commissioner of the PTL FL4, that means I'm just going to change the rules and declare myself the winner and take the trophy. That's how that works, right? What do you mean that's not how it works? What do you mean Peke still wins? Fine, okay. In honor of Peke's supposed win, I have prepared a special award for him to place in the center of his trophy case where he can cherish, honor, and worship it forever. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to see the Freak. It's the best trophy ever made. It's beautiful, it's perfect, and nothing's wrong with it at all, except that it's going to the wrong person. Whatever, let's get this over with. We're reluctantly joined by Fnatic's former mid laner Peke. xPeke, how does it feel to not earn the most fantasy points in the league and yet still somehow be blessed with this truly incredible trophy?
It feels really sweet, actually. Really sweet. Not salty at all, unlike you, I think.
I guess that's fair. Well, anyway, Peke, let's talk about something you're actually good at. You see, you started a new team in Europe, and you've been making waves in the challenger scene. You've made it to the finals now. We're going to see you live on stage. You gonna hope to backdoor your way in like this?
No. It's fine. When you say something I was good at, I didn't expect you to talk about the game at first, but that's fine. Yeah, we have 1 week more. Then we play playoffs, final. Hopefully we do good, and then I was hoping that you could come to give me a trophy in person, so I could actually enjoy seeing you, how it feels to taste the defeat in person and everything. That would have been better for me, actually.
Well, see, I'm going to be here in America where everything's better, so sadly you can stay over in Europe for a while. Anyway, Peke, thank you for joining us. I actually really don't care how you feel about this. Seriously, though, thanks to all of you who believed in me and everyone who followed along with Primetime League's Fantasy League of Legends Legendary League this split. I look forward to schooling my opponents for reals next time. And of course, while we're talking about schooling, Zyrene has joined us to talk about the upcoming playoffs in the North American Collegiate Championship.
Thank you, Freak, and man, big sorry about that loss. Thank you, Peke. We all owe you one. Anyhow, I'm here to talk about the NACCC. First, for people who aren't in the know, what is the NACCC? Well, Over the last 9 months, more than 1,500 college teams have been battling it out to represent their region at the North American Collegiate Championship, where the top 4 college teams in NA fight to win over $300,000 in scholarships. Last week, the top 4 teams from each region ventured onto the Rift for the end of the round robin to determine the top 2 teams in each of those respective regions. This upcoming weekend, the remaining teams will play one last best of 3 to earn the title of regional champion and a spot in the finals. So let's take a look at the map. Up in the north, we have the #1 team in this region and the favorites to win the entire tournament. It's Robert Morris University, which is the only school who scouts talent from all over the country and includes esports as an official part of their sports program, and they even offer scholarships for it. One of the most exciting stories from this weekend is that RMU is not unstoppable. As Michigan took a game off the scholarship school, RMU ended up going 5-1 in groups and walked away with 7 points. But Michigan, they'll get their chance for a rematch and revenge to knock them out on Saturday. Up next, it's the South. Texas A&M rose to the top to go 9-0 in their group. They have a history of coming in second within their region. They've always been the bridesmaid, never the bride, but this could be their chance to take a national title. On the other side is Georgia Tech, who's been battling through a group of Texas. They've taken down 3 Texas teams, and now they just have to go against A&M. Next up, it's the East. East is a region with the most teams, but they don't have a history of coming out on top. But this right now is one of the most competitive regions. They had the most 1-to-1 split scores, more than any other region. These teams are very evenly matched, and McMaster's and UConn actually tied for first place, with McMaster's owning that tiebreaker. But the real question is, how will the East stack up against the other regions, having never taken a collegiate title? But talking about a side of the regions that have a lot of history of being successful, it's the West. UBC is the only returning team from the top 4 finalists last year. And they had a shaky weekend, as the team struggled to secure a 2-0 victory versus most of the teams. But now, they must face their crosstown rivals, Simon Fraser University, in what looks to be the most intense match of the weekend. You can go and check out all the collegiate action this weekend on twitch.tv/wellplayed as the top 8 teams battle it out for a chance to represent the region at the college championship finals right here in Los Angeles. And you can join us for the ultimate game day tailgate party around the finals in Santa Monica's Barker Hangar on May 2nd and 3rd. Tickets will be available beginning this Friday, April 3rd, so come out and cheer for your favorite schools as regional champions head to the Rift to determine the best college in North America. And it seems like Freak has gotten into the collegiate spirit a little early. It's not for another month, Freak.
Hey man, it doesn't matter. It's party time here. Woo! I got some cosplayers. I got some hot grills. Obviously, I have the best cosplay here. I am Timo. It took me all night to make this. But guys, where's Greg? It's time to get this party started. All right. Okay. So where better to take a party than social media? Let's get social, people. Last week, we asked you to take things to Twitter and let us know who will be the next unique champion picked in their role, in their region, and in what role. And holy crap, there were a ton of unique picks in the LCS and all around the world. We had 10 different champions picked for roles in Korea alone, while the North American and European LCS combined for another 11 champs in new neighborhoods. And because we had 21 unique picks, we had a lot of winners. 13 of you managed to predict the future and pick the champions, regions, and roles. But what's really impressive is that another 8 of you managed to nail down champion, region, role, and the pro who picked them. That is seriously OP. So as we promised, you are now members of the PTL Hall of Fame. Congratulations, guys. Now, we want to give the rest of you a chance to join them with this week's Twitter question. But this week, we are not going to take it easy on you. We want you to let us know which teams will win the European and North American LCS quarterfinal matches this weekend, and how many total games will there be. For a shot at the Hall of Fame, though, tell us how many total kills there will be after all the games have been played across the LCS. And with 4 different quarterfinal matches, that means 4 different teams, 2 different numbers, and you're going to have to answer all of those perfectly to get in the Hall of Fame. For example, my tweet would be H2K, Unicorns of Love, Counterlogic Gaming, Team Impulse, 16 total games, 321 total kills. Never said to make it easy on you. Good luck with that one. So send your answers along to us at LOL Esports on Twitter with the hashtag PTL, and we will keep track of your playoff predictions. Now, we'd like to issue a small PTL correction, or rather, we'd like to correct you guys. See, a bunch of you tweeted in to let us know that you weren't included after answering that Rek'Sai would be the most played jungler after the 5.5 patch hit. Well, guess what? You were included. You just might not have seen it your name against all the other correct answers in there. But as you can see, they were there all along. So don't worry, there's no need to unleash the Queen's Wrath on us. We've got your back. So, well, Rex second, he just scream in rage, and I party with my grills. What up? Woo! Yeah! Let's listen in on the generalist rounds of the game. It's time for mic check.
Focus breaths.
Callie, go right. You almost baited me.
I'm spamming Afro move with invite power. Does that count as harassment?
Well, you're getting inside their head.
Go focus.
Focus, don't get excited, please.
송나 와드 1분 10초 봐봐. 1분 10초.
In game, please, don't shout, don't get too excited, okay? Don't let the emotions go over.
We can fight, we can fight.
No!
Caitlyn! I can use TP,
Wait, stop screaming.
Please,
don't stress.
Oh yeah, we win, we don't get a Ramen Festival.
No!
Oh my god.
Wait, what's Ramen Festival?
It's a festival with ramen. I don't think we're ever going to make it.
No.
No, we lost, trust me.
What is it?
Wait, what are they chanting?
Is it chanting Bunny?
Oh, Bunny, yeah. It's Bunny.
Bunny isn't even doing anything. What did you do? When a man loves a woman, why you gotta be so rude? Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. If you like pina coladas.
Why'd you stop singing, Eugene? I was enjoying it.
I ran out of songs.
Tower, please. Tower!
Go, focus Nexus, please.
Please, no unicorn,
Nexus,
please.
Nexus.
Please. Okay.
Nexus.
You need to do this fast, guys.
Yeah.
Tower, just focus tower.
Nexus.
I can't. He's killing me. Rex out here. I got it.
Focus tower.
Nexus.
Nice!
Whoa! That was close. Jesus.
My bad, guys.
Just keep calm. Don't yell. What? Don't yell during the fight. Good God. So things are cooling off here. Let's head over to Europe and check out the action from their final week of the regular season. First up was a 7th place Elements desperately trying to climb into the playoffs against Fanatico.
Yeah, a few surprising things had to fall to even give Elements a chance at this one. And if they had to beat anyone, it would be Fnatic, as you said. Here, they try and make a play in the jungle.
Yeah, Rainover gets himself caught. Good moves by Elements here. Shook tries to keep the plays going here at Dragon, but he pays with his life to get vision and maybe a steal.
First blood onto Froggen, they thought that was good, but honestly, Febiven just started to get going in this one. He can't make it in. They just
he
have
missed
no
his
control
Q.
here.
I'll kill him.
Oh, yeah. He has no damage anymore. Third Dragon as well for Fnatic, and this was Febiven snowballing.
Yep, here we go. And you can't Fnatic brush Fnatic. Joke's on you, Froggen.
He's like, I wonder if someone's there. Yes, there is someone there, and they are no longer there because I killed them, says Febiven.
You can't instill the fear of it's Fnatic brush against their own team. Elements doing what they can, but look how big Hooney is. Super gigantic.
I mean, they flashed to try and catch the Cho'Gath, and then all 4 of them had to run away in terror, just allowing the rest of Fnatic to try and chase in. Oh, look at that. Everywhere Elements tried to run, Fnatic was there to stop them, and they crushed Elements' playoff dreams.
Staring down the barrel there as Steelback came around the corner, as you said, crushing those playoff dreams indeed, but a very happy Fnatic at the end. Seems like they got those comms righted.
Yeah, no shouting.
No shouting.
They're going to be calm in the comms later in the year.
There you go. It's a good motto, calm in the comms. So at the end of the spring split with Elements tumbling out of the postseason, here's what the European standings look like. SK Gaming, Fnatic, and H2K all held on to the top 3 spots.
While Gambit, the Unicorns of Love, and the Copenhagen Wolves rounded out the teams that will be heading into the playoffs. And after do or die tiebreaker match, Giants Gaming will head to the promotion tournament, while Mitra Makers were the first European LCS team to be auto-relegated.
So let's take a look at Europe's playoff bracket now, and note that, like the NA playoffs, the matches will begin this Saturday. The quarterfinals will kick off with H2K making a playoff appearance in their first split as the LCS contenders when they face the Copenhagen Wolves in a best-of-5.
Meanwhile, the Unicorns of Love are also in the playoffs in their first LCS split, and they will be facing Veteran Diamond and the rest of Gambit in their series.
And now to bring in the European perspective to PTL, let's welcome Martin Deficio Lunga. I love saying your name. How's it going, Deficio?
Well, Riff, it's like we always say in Denmark. Vi er røde, vi er hvide, og nu skal jeg satme ud af ski. Wait a minute, that was I just completely that one. I'm sorry. Can we like take it over? I said it in Danish. I was supposed to say it in English. I'm super sorry. I'm ready again now.
So please welcome Martin Deficio Lunga to PTL. Love saying your name. What's up, Deficio?
Or it's like the old saying, man skal gå før man kan kravle. Nej, det er også forkert. Sorry, again, I said it completely wrong. I keep this up and it's super, super bad. Can we just give me like 5 minutes? Come on, man. Come on, just speak English. No more Danish here, no more Danish. We even got fake banana here. Can't even bite it. It's useless. I need some of this. I need this. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. That's what I need. I need sausage. Pølser. So I got everything now. I got Björksen. I got Dokes right here. I got the pulse as well. I can finally do this. Come on, guys. Okay, let's roll it again. This time for real. All right, Riv. As we say in Denmark, en blind høne kan også finde korn. And I'm pretty sure we both agree on that one, right, mate?
We sure can, Deficio. So let's talk playoffs first. Quarterfinals for you guys will be H2K versus the Copenhagen Wolves. What are your thoughts about this matchup?
Well, Riff, it's certainly a better finish for the Wolves than the end of last year when they finished number 8. And that was back when we basically only had 8 teams in the LCS. And it may also be a tough road now for the Wolves because they have never won a series in the playoffs. They lost to EG in the spring 2013 when I was playing and eating pulse. And then again in the spring playoffs last year when they fell to Alliance. But I guess on a positive note, this will be the first time they're not in the promotion tournament. And they also have Dentist now as a coach who should have, you know, some things ready for the best out of 5. He's been a fantastic coach so far in his first split, and he's made the best out of this Wolves lineup, in my opinion. Now, they will be facing H2K Gaming, a team they beat in the 2014 Summer Promotion Tournament to get back into the LCS. But this time, the Wolves, they will definitely be the underdogs because despite the fact they haven't, or well, despite the fact that H2K have looked somewhat weak on 5.5, they are still the heavy favorites due to fantastic shot calling, great map movements, and this is a team who works so well without like a real star player. They just have very good teamwork and very good synergy. And we're going to have to see what they can do on this new patch. We are, of course, on 5.6. It's going to be the same patch for the entire playoffs. Had it been 5.4, where H2K were really dominant, I would have said they were going to win the entire split, but now we're going to have to wait and see.
So articulate, even with a mouthful of pulsa. So which two players will you be keeping an eye on in this one?
So I'm going to be looking at Odo Amner for H2K, the big tank in the top lane, undefeated on Maokai 5-0, highest KDA for top laners as well, and he's super respected here in Europe as a player who has like the whole package. Laning, team fighting, and he's also the main shot caller for the team, which is just pretty insane how important Odo Amner is. The guy from Copenhagen Wolves is going to be Freeze. He replaced Woolite, and he's shown why he deserves to be in the LCS. He's one of the big carries for the Copenhagen Wolves, and he has these unique picks in like Draven and Kalista, which often gets banned away, allowing the Wolves to get other picks.
All right, and the second quarterfinal matchup in Europe will be between Gambit and the Unicorns of Love. What are you expecting?
Well, I mean, this is a match between two teams that have crazy aggressive play styles and a million different picks. So I'm expecting two teams who's going to excel in team fights and then struggle in late game with their shot calling. So we will be in for a series with a lot of early fighting, a lot of weird picks coming in. I wouldn't want to be the coach in this matchup here, and it's going to be impossible to predict what's going to happen in this series. I expect 5 games. Who wins? No idea. But if you look like previous games between these two teams, we had Gambit in week 1 against the Unicorns, where Gambit were on a losing streak, or well, it turned into a losing streak 5 games in a row. They didn't have Leviathan, there was no internet, and it didn't look great for Gambit, so Unicorns won that game fairly easily. Now the last one was in week 9, so the last week of the LCS, where Gambit suddenly looked a lot better. Power of Evil, he was shut down in the mid lane, which allowed Betsy to roam around, and the entire Gambit team just snowballed from that. So that's basically what they're looking to do in this best out of 5.
Yeah, it seems like Gambit's changes helped throughout the split. Now, who are your players to watch in this matchup?
So, back to the top lane again. A bit like we had Odo Amne for H2K. We have Capuchard now for Gambit. He is so good. Gambit plays around him early on. They always try to tunnel resources onto him. And he's a carry player, mainly. But we have seen him now play Maokai. He's joined the dark side. And he's going to play whatever the team needs him to play. We know he's a big carry for them. He can win the games. Power of Evil is a guy from the Unicorns. It's kind of weird, because whenever he's not performing, the Unicorns, they struggle. They don't really know what to do. They need him to win lane so he can roam around, so he can do well together with Kickers in these 2-on-2 fights. And then we have seen Power of Evil carry games for the Unicorns as long as he gets a good start. So as long as Gambit can shut that down, they should be fine, honestly.
All right, Deficio, thank you so much for joining us. And vi ses snart, min ven.
It's beautiful Danish there. Helt sikkert, gammel dreng. Du må have det.
And speaking of the scene in Europe where the teams hope to see some award-winning moments this weekend, let's send it over to Jat, who has another LCS award to hand out.
Thank you, Riv. And our next award will be going to the European Coach of the Split for taking his team all the way to third in their first ever appearance in the LCS. It goes to H2K's Prawley. Like his fellow winner in NA, Loco Doco, Prawley is a face familiar to many League fans. Most recently, Prawley served as Complexity's mid laner last year. This year, he joined H2K as their head coach, and he turned a new team into the LCS into what Deficio referred to at one point in the season as the best team in the European LCS. Now, I would like to welcome the EU LCS Coach of the Split, Prawley, to the show. Prawley, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on Coach of the Split.
Thank you very much. It feels very good in this seat right now.
It must feel good in that seat. You're in the European studio. You like having the spotlight on you. It's good stuff. But honestly, when you joined H2K, what were your expectations going in, and have you exceeded them?
I was honestly expecting like somewhere around like 5th, like the middle. I really didn't expect top 3. It was really a nice, thing to get there. But really, I was expecting like just to get at least around like 5th. I really didn't want to hit like 7th place or relegations. I didn't want to just stay in LCS. I wanted to at least make some kind of mark. Yeah, and you guys have actually made a pretty good mark now. You had that large winning streak. A lot of teams can fear H2K. Plus, you have your own Coach of the Split now. What was the biggest challenge for you throughout all the coaching? Because you hadn't even coached before this split. Yeah, I don't know. The coaching came kind of easily because I kind of could just read from what my coaches had done and kind of taken what they did well and then, did the opposite of what they did poorly. I guess the hardest thing was around when 5.5 hit, because this hit at a weird time for us because we were actually 8-0 on patch 5.4. So it was like we had to start brand new with a new meta, but we were also on top of our game from 5.4. So it was really hard to kind of innovate new ideas when what we were doing was working for so long.
Yeah, well, congratulations once again. 5.6 is going to be the playoff patch, so maybe a whole other thing you guys have to worry about. But good luck in the playoffs, and congratulations once again, Prawley.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, and we will have more LCS awards to give out next week when we reveal the Rookie of the Split for both North America and the European LCS. And while the end of the split also means award, it does mean Fantasy LCS. We have to look over the studs of the entire split, the split that was. We have Steelback, Huni, and Febiven. Not too surprising. 3 Fnatic players, the highest scoring players here in the split, and the 3 studs. If you drafted Fnatic players like xPeke probably did in the Fantasy League with Freak, congratulations, you did really well. Although there's studs, there's also a few duds. Piglet was not what people expected when he came over from Team Liquid. In fact, Keith, in his small number of games, had more fantasy points than Piglet across the whole year. Balls as well, only 14.6 points a game, which has him on the dud list. But what were people expecting? Summer Split of 2014, he actually had even fewer points per game. So he hasn't been a fantasy performer for quite some time. And Reckless was probably the #1 pick in many fantasy leagues. And to only get 18 points a game out of that guy puts him on the dud list. And finally, we do need to highlight the troll of the split, none other than Saint Vicious, who proves once again that he does not care about your fantasy points.
Continue to troll it.
Fantasy, go, go, go.
Yes.
Fantasy,
say
fantasy.
go.
Oh yeah, I got.
Say
no,
go.
Wait.
It's not cool, Saint. Not cool. But that does it for Fantasy this spring, so study up and we'll be back to help you with your lineups when Fantasy returns in the summer split. And while I rejoin Riv, he's going to start up the highlights for the LCK.
And as Jat heads over, let's take a look at Korea, where things continue to heat up with just 2 weeks remaining as the first place GE Tigers try to dodge some bullets from 6th place KT Rolster.
Yeah, and this was not expected to be an upset. This was just another day at the park for the GE Tigers, and it started off that way. It looked like Kuro just wanted to kill Nagne again and again.
Looking fancy in their blue shirts, and they're going to go for blue Karthus. They say, hey, we like a shirt. We're just going to take you down over and over.
Interesting note, Lee did die in his own jungle.
Yeah,
as Mundo early. An execute to the Gromp, I believe.
Oh, look, another ult.
Oh, dear.
Nagne did not have fun this game.
They're always that's going to keep happening.
Walking away.
The interesting thing about this for the GE Tigers is every time Kuro would ult the Karthus, they would kill him in a position where he could not be effective.
Do what?
It happens once again. Notice how nobody is in Karthus range, and it made for a very easy team fighting game for the GE Tigers. A nice game 1 win.
Rinse and repeat. GE Tigers going through games, right? Game 1 is theirs, but Fixer, he had some other plays this game.
His Thresh was the playmaker this game. I mean, he lands the hook onto Lee, which makes him go over the wall. They realize he doesn't have his dash to get in. Time to dive Smeb.
Yeah, but Smeb usually stays alive in this unless you can throw it over the shoulder of Lee. They get him. They're able to scoot out of this one as well, and Lee is forced to run for the hills. Good start.
Still a really close game, though. GE Tigers known for their team fighting, and they think they have the catch on Nagne here. This should be the turning point in the game for them, but they can't quite finish Cassio.
There's a difference between it hitting one person and then the return ult hitting about 3 to 4.
Yeah, the Cassio counter engage was huge in that one. It's only a 1-for-0, but the fact that that wasn't the game-turning fight for the GE Tigers and Cassiopeia could keep getting stacks, Sivir could keep getting farmed, made for some issues right here. Notice the farmed Sivir coming into this fight. They think they have a catch, but they are the ones who were caught.
Yep, KT looking for a 4th dragon to come up here in 45 seconds, but as they go for the fight, arrow so big, hits the crits, and everybody's able to follow up.
Yeah, and that was pretty much the game. Easy to get the 5th dragon if they wanted to, but they can just push on as well because they get the fight. Force game 3.
Smart moves. You got to force GE into the ropes if you want to take them out. And here already, Fixer getting more plays on, this time on Annie.
And I hate to say it, this game from the GE Tigers was somewhat reminiscent of Game 3 against WE at IM Katowice. They're in kind of control for the first 2 games. They trade matches, but then things just started to fall apart for them in this game. Lee and Smeb, normally so reliable, but someday he'll die, right?
Someday he will die, but that is not today after this one. The team's able to go coast to coast. They still got Dragon, and some days like, hey guys, good to see ya.
Oh, Flash Tibbers stun. Someday actually lives through that one. That's one of those times as a top laner where you want to say, yeah, I'm dead, just leave me.
Yeah.
Because it takes so long to run across the map. This time he uses the Righteous Glory to go in.
Tally-ho!
It's over.
Everybody flies through. GE knows they cannot stay on the train tracks for that one, and a good win from KT Rolster there as we move on to SKT versus the Jin Air Green Wings. Everybody was really excited to see this matchup again from Faker and GBM.
Yeah. Right here, SKT picked a really tanky team composition. You have Nivea mid, Sejuani, Urgot, and Alistair in the bottom lane.
Pretty tanky.
But their early laning phase was pretty subpar. Jin Air pulled out to a big lead. Look at this, 5 kills to 0 and a 5,000 gold lead. But SKT trying on the turnaround.
That glacial prison locking everybody up. Faker knows the game's going well for him right now after that, and they still try to pressure.
At this point, though, it became all about Fakers and Nivea, landing the skill shot stuns, cutting off the path in just the right way. Yeah, you're trapped.
Where
it's
you going?
A bunch of ice people around you, and an abomination from Urgot. 10 at that point, and SKT, they take game 2 and 1.
And 1 indeed. See game 2 here. Dinter coming in from the side. A few kills for the Karthus. We've been seeing a few more Karthus around.
4 people in mid lane for Faker at the start of the game.
You can see the observer didn't even know it. Shot to Karthus immediately saying, whoa, there's another. Here we go, flying in on Hakura Marn, trying to do what he can. A very scattered fight here, but the Karthus assault will always find its target.
Such a beautiful hook onto Pilot as well near the end of that one. And Faker's sustained damage from Vladimir was kind of the key here. A lot of sustained damage champions from Faker, not the assassination type. Nivea and Vladimir showing a different dimension to his game, but they get some revenge on Jin Air here, taking him out with a 2-0.
Those picks really having a bit of an influence here on some of the mid laners in NA, you could say.
Keen is just like, I wonder what Faker's playing. Cho'Gath? Check. Vladimir, check.
Got that one on the list. So as the Korean teams jockey for postseason positions, let's check out their standings. After beating Najin this morning, the Tigers are now untouchable in first place with SKT close behind.
And if the season were to end today, the Tigers and SKT would head into the LCK playoffs with byes, while CJ, Entis, and Jin would face each other in round 1 of the playoffs on April 17th.
And all split long, we've been putting together the 5 best plays from around the world. And we have been amazed at some of the moves we've seen.
And you know what, Riv? I'm tired of good plays. There's a completely different set of skills we'd like to highlight today. Take a look at them in this topsy-turvy segment we like to call the anti-penta.
At number 6, Huni's battle with the Gromp only leads to a glacial path of death.
The bottom lane from Rocket to be on the bottom side, and that's why they give this Gromp over to Huni, so he gets a level 2 for himself, and then he can teleport down to the bottom.
Oh!
Whoa! That just happened.
At least he killed the Gromp. Coming in at number 5, it's Chris with the flashy play into the wall.
Oh, Cloud! Oh. Keen riffs in. He was like, the Ignite may get him, but I'm going to go for another hit. Chris actually going to be walking to his death. Tries to get out. No, he flashed into the wall. We've all done it. We've all been there.
Rushing in at number 4, I Will Dominate, tunnels in on a cupcake.
Oh God, he walked on a Caitlyn trap as well as hit it by his, oh God, that is so painful. Oh my God, and he gets smited for it too.
At number 3, Cop found himself in a grave situation.
Nice.
Yeah. Help!
Cop, stay and push. Push from the base.
I can't push. Oh, we need to do things. I know, I'm trolling.
Wait, I can't. I missed
it.
Shifting in at number 2, it's Core JJ with the
Also
ult
maybe 1,000
off
to
map.
himself now. He's being greedy. Oh!
Oops!
No! And in our number 1 play this week, Froggen feels the wrath of Airwalks.
Froggen?
Oh!
Cancel the recall.
Froggen continued to kite around. Airwalks is there actually. Can he make the 1v1 happen? No, there's a flash away from the Rek'Sai. Airwalks still sending the Praise Seeker, continually stopping Froggen's back.
Froggen, he's still not recalled. Oh, yeah, wait.
Those Praise Seekers.
He's gonna do it again.
And again.
Yeah.
He should just run in and take the inhibitor.
Oh, he might die
the teleport. No, Froggen, he takes down Airwalks, but he's gonna die as well. Young Buck takes him down after the fact. What is this game?
Man, that always makes me feel good. And with the action continuing across the world as the regions head into the playoffs, we expect plays to turn from dirt to damn pretty darn quick.
Yeah, so send those good plays to us as they happen by tweeting them to @LOLesports along with the hashtag #ThePenta to make sure we do not miss a thing.
That's right. And while we've had 2 teams eliminated from the LCS altogether, in a few weeks, 2 teams from North America and 2 teams from Europe will head to the promotion tournament to try and keep their spots in the LCS.
And that is also where they will face some of the upcoming teams that are currently competing in the Challenger Series. They just started their semifinals, so let's take a quick look at their playoff bracket. First up in the North American Challenger bracket, TDK took down Team Fusion yesterday.
And later today, Enemy Esports faces Impaler, Sheep, and the rest of the Final 5.
And over in the European Challenger Series, the Lowland Lions White topped Gamers 2 yesterday, and earlier this morning, xPeke and Origin beat Reason Gaming. The winner of those matchups will face off in the finals, which kick off next Wednesday.
That's right, and a heads up for everyone as the playoffs continue next week. Primetime League will air at a special date and time, 4 p.m. on Thursday, April 9th. And with that, we can put another Primetime League in the rearview mirror.
Not quite yet, though, Riv. xPeke might have beaten Freak in the PTL FL4, but he's really been roughing it with Origin. He tries to return to the LCS. Let's check out some of the sketchy housing where the team has been training in our last hit.
Pretty much starting now from zero in the challenger scene is a bit hard because you don't have the same facilities you have when you're in LCS. You don't have the same luxury of having everything you need. It's a lot of hard work. We have to practice pretty much every day, non-stop, and we have no free time to do any kind of activities to relax. I think it's good for us to get hit by reality that this is the bottom, that this is where we start, and it's going to be hard now until we get into LCS. But I want to leave all of this behind so we can get back into LCS.